All right, let's get right into it. We're looking at a huge military event, a major strike on Iran. We're going to break down what reportedly happened and the official reason given for it, all based on the source material we've got.
The source material sets the scene with this one powerful line. It just drops you right into the middle of it. This wasn't some quiet, secret mission. No, this was a massive, unmistakable signal that something big was kicking off.
So, where did the first signs of this come from? Well, according to the reports our source points to, it all started on social media. Videos popping up, supposedly from over Iraq, showing these streaks in the sky, missiles heading straight for Iran. And then, just moments later, you start getting the reports of explosions inside Iran itself.
And the source is pretty specific about who was behind this. It wasn't just one country. It was reportedly a joint US and Israeli force. And their targets? They weren't just hitting random spots. The reports say they were aiming for regime sites and important military facilities. You know, this whole thing points to a very carefully planned, coordinated military attack.
You know how it is. Every big military operation gets a code name, and this one was no different. The source calls it Operation Lion's Roar. And believe me, the fallout from this was felt almost instantly.
So Lion's Roar. According to an Israeli official cited in the source, that was the official title. It was apparently approved right from the top by the Prime Minister's office. And get this, it actually replaced a more boring internal code name. Lion's Roar was the name they used when this thing went public. And this is where you really see the immediate ripple effect. The second those missiles are in the air, Iraq just shuts down its entire airspace. Bam! And the chain reaction is immediate. Airports grind to a halt, planes are grounded, and if you looked at a live flight tracker, you'd see these huge empty corridors right over the Middle East where there are normally tons of planes. The world's aviation map was literally changing in real time.
Okay, so that brings us to the big question, right? Why? And why now? Just minutes after those first reports came out, a video statement drops from the US president, and it laid out a really detailed case for the whole operation. So let's dig into that justification.
This quote from that address really gets to the heart of their stated goal. The whole thing is framed not as an attack, but as an act of defense, preemptive defense. And that phrase right there, imminent threats, that's a really specific term. It's the justification for striking first. But here's the thing. The justification wasn't just about what's happening right now. The speech lays out this long history of grievances, stretching all the way back 47 years. It was basically framing this attack as the final straw after a decades-long campaign of aggression. It starts way back with the embassy takeover in '79 and draws a line through all these events, right up to linking Iran to the October 7th attacks. And to really drive the point home, the speech uses this incredibly powerful direct label. It calls Iran the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. I mean, there's no wiggle room there. They're making their central argument as bluntly as possible. And this is what the speech presents as the ultimate red line, the one thing that's non-negotiable. Forget all the other history for a second. The single biggest reason given for this military action, preventing a nuclear-armed Iran, period.
Then the address lays out a very specific timeline of events to back this up. It says, look, we already had an operation that completely obliterated their nuclear program. We gave them a clear warning, don't ever restart it. But it alleges Iran ignored that warning, walked away from diplomatic deals, and started trying to rebuild anyway. So this operation, it's being sold as the direct and, in their view, necessary consequence of that defiance.
And then, the speech takes this really dramatic turn. It stops talking to the world and starts talking directly to people inside Iran. And it's not one message, it's two very different messages for two very different groups, the military and the regular citizens. For anyone in the Iranian military or police, the message was, well, it was about as stark as it gets. A choice. They were told, lay down your weapons and you'll get complete immunity. You'll be treated fairly. The other option? The speech was blunt. Face certain death. But then, for the Iranian people, but totally different message. This quote here is basically a call to arms for a popular uprising. The address tells them their moment of freedom has arrived and flat out encourages them to take over their own government when the military operation is over. It's theirs for the taking, it says. So, what's the endgame here? What does mission accomplished look like according to this speech? The final part of the address gets really specific about the military goals and makes one last big appeal. And the stated goals are, well, they're huge, really ambitious. The speech claims this operation is going to destroy Iran's missiles and the industry that builds them, annihilate their navy, make sure their proxies in the region can't cause trouble anymore, and, the big one, permanently, once and for all, stop them from ever getting a nuclear weapon.
Now, the speech doesn't pretend this is going to be easy or without cost. It's very open about the fact that American lives could be lost. But look at how that risk is framed. It's presented as a necessary sacrifice, part of a noble mission to protect the future. And this is it, the final urgent message, aimed right at the people of Iran. It's a plea for them to seize the moment, framing this whole thing not just as a military strike, but as their one big chance to change their country's destiny.
And that's pretty much where our source material leaves us. You have strikes happening, you have an explicit call for the government to be overthrown, and the whole situation is just teetering on a knife's edge. It leaves us with the one question that nobody at this point can possibly answer. What happens now?